The Employees Provident Fund appears to be on the hunt for glove stocks, judging by a series of recent transactions. Despite massive run-ups over the past few months, rubber glove counters remain investor darlings amid the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The country's largest pension fund re-emerged as a substantial shareholder of Top Glove with a 5.05% stake on September 18th after acquiring 13.7 million shares in the company. It took up more shares on Monday, increasing its shareholding to 5.1% or close to 415 million shares. Another glove company which the EPF favours is Kosan Rubber, in which the fund now holds an 8.09% stake after acquiring 39.38 million shares or 3.08% over a 4-month period. Outside of Malaysia, the EPF also emerged as a substantial shareholder of Riverstone Holdings, according to a Singapore Stock Exchange filing, after acquiring 2 million shares in a Malaysian-based company worth 6.58 million Sing dollars or 19.94 million ringgit on Monday. This brings the EPF's direct interest in Riverstone to 5.13% or 38.09 million shares. Top Glove settled 2.9% or 25 cents higher for the day at 8 ringgit and 80 cents for a market capitalization of 71.99 billion ringgit. Its peer Kosan also closed 6.2% or 80 cents higher at 13 ringgit and 80 cents, valuing the group at 17.65 billion ringgit. Shares in Riverstone ended the day 1.2% or 4 cents higher at 3 Sing dollars and 53 cents, giving it a market capitalization of 2.62 billion Sing dollars or 7.94 billion ringgit. Gamuda swung into the red for the fourth quarter of FY20 with a net loss of 17.3 million ringgit compared with a net profit of 179 million ringgit a year ago. According to its board's filing, part of this was due to a one-off impairment of 148 million ringgit as it temporarily shut down one of its 2 IBS factories as the movement control order slowed work. The group said excluding the impairment, it would have recorded a core net profit of 131 million ringgit. Meanwhile, revenue was 38.2% lower year-on-year at 926.5 million ringgit from 1.5 billion ringgit in the fourth quarter of FY19. As for the full year FY20, the group saw its net profit drop by 46.9% to 371.7 million ringgit from 700.2 million ringgit in FY19, while revenue dropped 19.8% year-on-year from 4.6 billion ringgit to 3.7 billion ringgit. Moving forward, Gamuda said its FY21's performance will be driven by its overseas property sales as well as the continued progress of the MRT Line 2. It added that growth will be further supported by its construction order book of 7 billion ringgit and unbuilt property sales totaling 3.3 billion ringgit, which should tide the group over for the next 2 years. The ongoing financing drawdown probe in candy manufacturer Kisan has revealed fabricated sale and purchase invoices and discrepancies between summary listings of invoices submitted for credit facility drawdown and the actual documents attached to the listings. In a statement to Bursa Malaysia, Kisan appointed BDO Governance Advisories Review revealed that all applications of the credit facilities were signed by Datuk Sri Liu Yu Chung. Kisan had announced Liu's resignation as chairman in a filing made on September 13, 2019. Based on BDO's review, sales invoices amounting to 39.45 million ringgit submitted as basis for drawdown seem fictitious and for products not manufactured by Kisan. Besides sales invoices, there were also purchase invoices unsupported by stock cut movements totaling 4.47 million ringgit. To recap, in July, Kisan had hired BDO to do a review following a loan repayment default to Alliance Bank, which in turn took legal action. Armada has secured 2 contracts from India's state-owned oil company, Oil and Natural Gas Corp, worth a total of 2.06 billion ringgit. It is for works involving the Armada Sterling floating production, storage and offloading vessel. In a board's filing, the group said the Armada Sterling FPSO will be operated in the ONGC D1 field located 200 kilometers off the west coast of Mumbai, India. The first contract, valued at $370 million or 1.54 billion ringgit, was awarded to Bumi Armada's JV Co Armada D1 Singapore and is for a bareboat charter lease. The second contract, won by another JV Co, Shapoorji Pallonji Armada Oil and Gas Services India, is worth 9.2 billion Indian rupees or 520 million ringgit for operation and maintenance works. Both contracts are valid for 10 years, effective from September 25, 2020, with an annual option to extend for up to an additional 5 years. The Health Ministry reported 111 new COVID-19 infections today, bringing the country's total number of confirmed cases to 10,687. Of the 111 new cases, 107 were local transmissions, while the remaining 4 were imported. For the local cases, Sabah accounted for the highest number of daily infections at 97 cases, of which 74 cases were from the Bangau-Bangau cluster and 13 cases were from the Benteng cluster. Elsewhere in Malaysia, Kedah recorded 8 new cases, including 7 from the Sungai cluster. Selangor and Pahang each reported 1 new case, while Johor saw a new imported cluster identified. There were no new deaths, keeping the country's death toll at 133.